Bethany Warren here, and you've joined us for the weekly Our Millwall fan show with the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team, which is broadcast every Friday evening. Enjoy!
Welcome back to the 21-22 series of the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking, Our Millwall fan show, in the fourth show in our new freedom post-lockdown. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige. He's back again for the third time. There mustn't be much going on in his life. Debbie Julians and Patricia Maslin.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
So was it 2 points lost or a satisfactory point on Saturday against Blackburn Rovers and defeat to the full-on firing Fulham, both at the Den? Well, hello, Jeff. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And it's only too nice for me to be on 3 weeks running. I thought, but presumably I'll be back on the bench for the next few weeks, will I?
One would imagine so, unless someone decides they can't make it. But you never know what might happen. Debbie, good to have you back on the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hello all.
Yeah, hello. You're loud down in the South Coast. And Patricia, wonderful to hear from you this evening. And how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, everybody.
That's helpful. Wonderful. Okay, so there we go. So, Pat, what did you think about our experience against Blackburn Rovers?
Well, to start with, how good was it to be back? How good was it seeing all your old mates there and high spirits and not a mask in sight, I would add. That really surprised me. It was like last year didn't exist. Anyway, back to the game. Very frustrating. It was a game I think we could have and should have won. I don't think we should blame the officials for all these bad decisions. It's basically down to us. There were far too passes by ourselves in our own half. We're going to get caught out a couple of times this season with that. It's quite frightening to see some of them passing they do. As I say, it was frustrating. I think Keith Builders carried us through QPR. Andy carried us through Blackburn. Yet again, the attacking edge we didn't have. It was a brilliant goal. I think Quest summed it up properly. It was a bore draw with two interesting moments.
Okay, a bore draw with two interesting moments. So, Jeff, what did you think about the full-on firing Fulham on Tuesday night?
I think it wasn't a surprise that we lost that game. A lot of people think Fulham will actually win the division this year, don't they?
They do.
So I didn't go there expecting us to win. But as soon as we lost, I think we lost, was it 2 seasons ago we lost 4-0 at Fulham and we lost at home as well. So, and everyone knows how much their players have cost them and are valued at. So there was a gulf. It's just a shame that they did score with their first 2 chances because that did create a situation which was too much for us. Interestingly, the one way to beat Fulham, which all the teams watching that match would have seen, is in the air at their back. If we'd put Matt Smith on at half-time, who knows, it might have been different. We still would have been outclassed, but we might have scored more than one. And we did have a couple of chances we didn't take in that last 10 minutes, didn't we? So, very disappointing. But all 3 league teams we've played so far have got 7 points out of 9. And they're all in the top 6 or 7, aren't they? So It always looked a very difficult start, and sure enough, it was.
So what did you think about those 2 results, Debbie?
Well, I think we're trying, and we'll eventually get there. Hopefully, the next game we'll definitely come out fighting and more confident as well.
Yeah, but it's a game against a team in the top at Cardiff. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for me, I think you said a gulf, Jeff, against Fulham. I thought it was a chasm, and I felt strongly about that. But I think more people went away happy than went away sad in the end, because if you looked at how they played and how we played to lose 2-1 wasn't too bad at all. So we'll see where we go from there. Anyway, before we break, you may remember that in 2021, Lions fan Dean Brown and Steve Rendell were set to run the London Landmarks Half Marathon in aid of Dean's son, Harvey. But the event was cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Harvey, now 11, suffers from MPS, and his father was set to run the race alongside fellow supporter Steve Rendell, who completed the course in 2019 and 2020 for the MPS Society. In the absence of the race, Dean and Steve's intention is to do the run prior to our Sky Bet Championship fixture at home to Coventry City on Saturday, the 18th of September, with the duo, plus that man Harvey himself, walking around the perimeter of the pitch at half-time to complete their goal. You can, if you are able, make donations on Just Giving. Just put Just Giving Dean Brown 20 into your browser. So that's Just Giving Dean Brown 20, and you'll find the place to make donations. We will take a break there and listen to Patricia Maslin talking I Follow.
Remember Carl Bates crashing off his chair at Carrow Road? And the commentaries that he and Max McLennan gave throughout the pandemic? Well, I Follow gives you all that and the inside track on our club, with a range of benefits including live match video streams if you live outside the United Kingdom and Republic of Ireland. Live audio commentary and exclusive club content is available everywhere. Sign up today to get closer to the action. And don't forget, at least 80% of iFollow net revenue goes straight to our club. It's a great way to show your support. A basic package is free and the audio pass starts from $4.49 a month. Go to Millwall's website and select iFollow to subscribe.
I'm Eamonn Barclay. I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and Patricia Maslin. As Patricia said, it is a great way to support our club, with the largest proportion of the revenue returning to the club, whether you listen to either the audio stream or watch the video stream. Our first guest said that he's delighted to get on the pod that is. Wow. He started his senior playing career at Addington, not the suburb of Croydon in South London, but a township of Durban, South Africa, and the country of his birth. He moved to Durban City before migrating to London to join Chelsea, where he became the first South African, in fact, the first foreign player in England to win a European Championship when Chelsea won the 1970-71 European Cup Winners' Cup. He then joined Millwall in 1971, where he stayed until 1975 and featured for the Lions on 79 occasions, scoring 13 goals. He departed, like a good few did, as we dropped into the third tier at the end of the 74-75 season. Next stop for this globetrotter was Tampa Bay, where he joined the Rowdies and where he scored an incredible 57 goals in 65 appearances on the field, and indoors 23 goals in 12 appearances. His American soccer dream continued with San Diego Sockers, Seattle Sounders, Memphis Americans, Carolina Lightning, before his final return to Tampa Bay Rowdies, where he hung up his soccer shoes in 1987, some 21 years after his senior career began. Let's welcome to the studio a man on the line from Tampa Bay today, and where the fannies of the Rowdies named him the Stalk, Derek Smethurst. Welcome, Derek.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hi,
Derek.
Welcome, Derek.
That was good. They all said hello to you.
Yes, in sync as well. Very good.
Yeah. I'm going to get them to sing later. Derek, before I let you off to the panel, what's the temperature in Tampa today?
I'm glad I checked that about 3 minutes before you hooked up. It's 93 in Valrico, 15 miles east.
Oh, it's only cool at the moment then. Not like it's
Well,
been
yes,
on the West Coast.
it's
Goodness.
chilling off a bit here. That's it.
Yeah. And was it the temperature that drew you to stay in the US of A when your soccer career ended?
Took me 5 minutes. I was talking with a guy by the name of Brian Clough
Oh, yes, that chap. Yeah.
to go back. I wanted to come and get fit and go back because I'd been injured at Millwall for a year, two torn quad muscles. And what it was is, as soon as I opened my mouth, where's Nottingham? You know, that was the end of the conversation right there. But I'd already made my mind up to stay in Tampa Bay because it reminded me of Durban.
Ah,
Humid, yes. A little bit like Kenya, I think someone said.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
what it is the humid weather, the hard grounds, and perfect grounds actually here at
Yeah.
the stadium, the old Sombrero.
Aye.
And I was right at home.
Not bad at all. I remember a song about a sombrero with my sister Belinda, but we won't go into that now. Over to you, Debbie.
Hi, Derek. As you know, my dad used to play for Millwall. It seems inconceivable that a top flight player and a European Cup winner would join Millwall for £35,000, which is in today's money is £285,000. That is remarkably a low price. How did you actually come to join Millwall from Chelsea?
I'll go through the scenario. We played the semi-finals in the European Cup Winners' Cup against Manchester City, and the two young kids got thrown into the game. There's John Phillips and Derek Smethurst, because there was injuries to Osgood and Benetti. So what happened was, I scored the winner at home in the first leg, which was the actual goal that sent us through to the finals with Real. And then John Phillips he's had a brilliant two games in the semis. And so after those two games, and Keith Weller got the strike that the goalie touched. Had he let it go, would have been still 1-0 up, and all havoc could have played into to the game. But he sealed that one. So what happened was, about a week after that, Dave Sexton, who we got on, I got on with him fantastically. He came to John and myself, and he said, "We're going to pay you half of the winning bonus." And being a South African, I looked at John and then I just took over. I hammered Dave. In the days of yes sir, no sir, three bags full sir, that's when we played. You didn't go boo to your boss. But I hammered him for about 7 minutes. I mean, South African style, up, down, sideways, around, and threw him to the great big shark. And then I looked at, I thought it was disgusting, actually. I still do, but hey, I was over that a long time ago. But I looked at John and I said, "Are you going to ever say anything here?" And what happened was, when I looked at him, we'd been in England for 9-10 months without seeing the sun. So your tan is wonderful anyway, isn't it? So I stood there and I looked at him. I said, "Are you going to say anything?" And I went, "Oh, no, of course you're not." He had gone ashen white. I think he saw his life pass before his eyes, his football life, as I was hammering Dave Sexton. And when I'd finished, I said, "This conversation's over. I'll talk to you later." In between that, somebody must have told somebody, because it got to Benny. Benny wanted me after I was in the country for 18 months. I had to serve 2 years as an amateur before I could become a pro. And Benny was after me, and I didn't know that. Keith Weller did when he got to Chelsea. So he came to me and says, "Del, I think he must have got wind of what was going on from John Phillips, because the timing was just like superb." He said, "Benny wants you. The fee doesn't matter." But what happened was, I told Dave, I said, I'd gone in after the championship. I'd started the next season against Arsenal. I was playing very, very well, my best football. And I asked for a meeting with him. He gave it to me. And I said, "Now's the time you can transfer me. I don't want to stay here anymore. You obviously didn't want to fight for my rights for the fee, the half of the fee." I said, "I need to move." I'm going to get the money back somehow. I'm going to be gone. Thanks for having me at Chelsea. And I said, I don't want to leave London. And I made it quite clear. Yeah, I made it quite clear. If I left London, I was heading back to South Africa, which I could do freely because we were kicked out of FIFA. There would be no fee. They couldn't stop me. And then I could come back again, see, a year later. But what happened was, I said, I understand Millwall's been looking at me for a long time. Why don't you have a word with them? And don't make it expensive, make it very quick. So the fee would have been about £80,000. After like you said, after the European Championship and getting the goals and Mr. Clough coming in, that kind of stuff. So it's sitting there, and I'm going, I'll get my money back somehow. But Benny had made a deal with me, and I was really happy with the deal. I got all my money back plus a whole bunch more. The fee was low. Derek was paid well. That was the deal. Yeah. So the payoff came to me, and the salary I couldn't have got at Chelsea if I'd stayed there 5 years.
It's fascinating.
Yes, but that's how they made the deal, and it was going to be 80 grand, and Benny was going to pay it. And normally he hadn't paid that kind of fee anywhere. So, and I was just okay. I'm glad I'm in London. I made too many friends in London. I don't want to go back and establish myself somewhere else. It's a hard thing going to a new town when you come from another country.
Yeah,
It's really tough. And the players coming into Millwall will have that kind of thing, some of them anyway. So that's how it came about.
fascinating.
Well, Derek, it's Jeff Burnige here. It's lovely to speak to you. It's been a very, very long time. So long you probably don't even remember me, but you might remember my dad, who was on the board when you were there.
Absolutely.
People have picked up from what you just said is the fact that your paths crossed with Keith Weller, who many people at Millwall feel is probably the best player they've ever seen in a Millwall shirt. What were your impressions of Keith, both as a man and as a player?
As a man, he was a gentleman. And we got along like a house on fire. And nobody was making for the exits, that kind of thing. We got on really, really well. He's a footballer who can bring a ball down softly and just coast through the field. When you're on the field with this fella, if his first touch is good, be on the move because it's coming. He doesn't take 3 looks at you or 2 looks at you. He's already made his decision. And if he has to take a touch and it's 3 yards away from him, then you've got to stand still and wait a second because he's going to roast the guy in a second or 2 later. He was brilliant. And as a man, I just thought he was a wonderful fellow. We got on.
He was a comedian. He was a bit of a comedian, wasn't he, Derek?
Oh, hey, I've never met a footballer out of 1 or 2 that haven't been. It's great that, yes, he was. Absolutely, yes.
I don't think many people at Millwall realise that what you just told me, he must have won a European Cup Winners' Cup medal with Chelsea in 70-71.
Yeah, he turned up somewhere. I thought he turned up at the local bar, but he didn't drink that much, so that's okay. He was brilliant, yeah.
So when you arrived at the Den, what did you make of the stadium and the facilities for training that we had at the time?
Shock and awe.
Park.
No, but let me explain. I'm coming out of the West End, film stars, blah, blah, blah. All of those types of things down King's Road and all over the place. And then I hit the stadium. And let me tell you what I said to Benny. I thought Benny was going to pass out, but he saw the humor and it was good. I said, Benny, when did you last paint this place? After the World War? And this is me, see? This is South African brash. But he's been around South Africans, Benny. And we just speak our minds at times, but it was so funny. We started laughing. I said, I'm glad I'm here, actually, because the finances were working out. I'm going to play. I'm not going to sit and wait anymore. I wanted to play. All footballers do. They don't want to sit around. They want to play. it worked out really good. What hit me was shock and awe. When did they last fix the stadium? It's like, any paint, Benny? And we started laughing our heads off.
Well, I don't think Stamford Bridge was a palace in those days. None of the grounds were. But what about just one more thing before I hand over? We've heard stories, and I can remember things, but where did you actually train when you first arrived at Millwall?
Where did we train?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had a hard field. It was sand, compacted sand like they used to have. I don't know if they still have them. 10-foot fences. It was like playing on an indoor arena without the AstroTurf, the sand. So the bounce was foreign.
Was that Deptford Park? Was it
Deptford Park? Absolutely right. Yes, Deptford.
Right. Okay.
So, correct. Yes, and the one good thing about it was, for a South African, no mud. No mud. Can you hear me over there, Patricia, Debbie? No mud. So I got on swimmingly with it. But some of the guys, you look at you go, okay, this is good. No mud. Oh, I can go home warm, that kind of thing. So, but it was difficult because when you go into the games on Saturday, the bounce is foreign, 3/4 of the season. So it was a difficult thing, but I loved it because the ball is always flowing. It's not sticking. It's like, that kind of thing. It was good. Then the players got used to it too. So they, Deptford Park. Yes.
Yeah. Hello, Derek. It's Pat. Been looking forward to talking to you. I actually started going the year before you came. So you was one of my childhood heroes.
Just a childhood hero.
The checks in the mail. The checks in the mail. We're good.
Absolutely. We had a really good squad at that time. Really settled team. Who were the standout players when you come? Obviously not compared to Chelsea, but for Millwall, who were your guys?
We had a team that could adapt to any kind of game. When I say that, we didn't have to play 4-4-2 all the time. Benny loved that system, and the World Cup was won on that system. So everybody went to that system, which to me wasn't a smart thing because you have to adapt. Football, you've got to adapt. There are certain players who can kill you if you're in a certain position, and you've got to change your rhythm, the way you play. But what happens is everything we did as a team, the ball always was moving quickly. And 1 touch, 2 touch, 1 touch, 2 touch, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 2 touch. That's how I love to play. So when I got there, it was like, I'm home. I don't have to watch a footballer dribble 6 guys or wait for a pass. This is the kind of players we had. And so you've got Barry Kitchener. There's another wonderful fella. So what he did was just block everything up at the back for us. And then you got a fellow that Alan Dorney, I think one of the most underrated footballers ever.
Absolutely.
For me, look, all he said was, "Hello, Derek." I say, "Hello, Al," and we knew our conversation was over. But he just got down to serious football every time. He was a man of very few words, but lots of action. Boy, going back and watching some films, you look at it and you go, Alan, Kitch, Alan, Kitch, Alan, Kitch. Never mind the outside guys. We had a lot of good players. Derek Posse could strike a ball as clean as a whistle.
Mm-hmm.
And for a fellow that of his height, he would go in through your face if you were 6'4". And so now you've got players with courage and skill. Barry Bridges, and there's a player you could turn on a dime, on a sixpence, what we used to call a tikkie in South Africa. So all these kinds of Dougie Alder, I don't know how he didn't get to the top of the world with the best teams in the world. He must have loved Millwall a whole bunch, and I think he still does. We talk quite often, actually, on Facebook. So here's a guy that can run all day, but not just run all day, he can tackle you all day. A left winger that can turn inside, outside, and when he's going under pressure, he seemed to hit more cleaner crosses under pressure than he did when he had time and space. There's just a lot of them. Gordon Bolland, another great strike, and Dennis Burnett that would clean up at the back. And we had a lot of very, very good players. They just clicked on the field, and the way things turned out was very strange on the,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they played we played very, very well together.
Great.
Ball
Yeah.
moved.
It's Debbie here again. That's absolutely, you were a fantastic team, just unbelievable, and it's so fascinating to listen to you. I've heard obviously a lot about the players. I knew quite a lot of them, and also heard about Benny Fenton. And I never tire of listening of all the players talking about him. How did you describe Benny Fenton?
Benny, when we first met, he just said, "You remind me of Martin Peters." I said, "Okay, you can stop that now. Nobody's like Martin Peters." And he started laughing, and I laughed. So that was our friendship, if you call it that. People used to think we didn't like each other. But
Oh, really?
yes, the word got out somewhere. But you see, what we did was we talked directly to each other. There was never any soft soaping anything with me, and he knew that because he'd been around South Africans, John Huey and Brian Tocknell at Charlton Athletic, and a lot of others, Eddie Famani. So he knew how they talked, how they dealt with issues. And Benny he would come up to me every game and say, "What do you think, Smiths? What do you think?" And every game I'd say the same thing. I said, "Why are you asking me? You've got a bunch of guys in here. Why don't you go ask them?" "No, what do you think?" I said, "Benny, you're aggravating me. This is I'm right before the football match here, 5, 10, 20 minutes." But we said those things to lighten the load because that's what he did. He was lightening his load and he was thumping it onto me every match. I don't remember, even when I was injured. "What do you think, Smith?" "I think you're playing the wrong system today, Benny." And he looked, "Huh? What are you talking about?" I said, "I knew I couldn't get through to you, so I'm just telling you." That's me and Benny. That's how we talked, straightforward, and I like that. Personally, I love it. I love somebody coming up and say, "Derek, I don't like you." Well, thanks for the warning. I appreciate it. I like people like that. As strange
Well,
as it might sound, yes, it's
but
like that's how
he
Benny and I.
obviously had a great fondness and trust in what you said as well.
Well, yeah, he actually made some decisions, and I'd just walk by and put my thumb up and go, now they've got little pictures like you put on Facebook and stuff, little thumbs up.
Derek, it's Pat again. We had Stevie Brown on a couple of weeks ago, and we asked him about his highlight games during his career. He mentioned the FA Cup ties at Everton and Wolverhampton. What were yours?
I don't know. What I do know is about the top games that we played. We didn't come across some of the big teams, in that time frame. But what we did, there were some very important games we had to win against Birmingham, and
Yeah,
I'm talking about my first year there, because that was the time when we were a point out of going through up to the first division. And we were playing football like I don't think Millwall's played in a long time, that kind of football. And they've got beautiful fields now. Oh, my goodness. So I think Birmingham, every time we met Birmingham, we knew one of us was going up. We didn't just realize how we were going to go. They were going to go up.
did you like Trevor Francis as much as the fans did?
Well, Trevor, yeah, he came over to America too, and he played here. So Trevor just, young player when I was playing. He was, I think, a teenager, a young player, maybe 17, I don't know, 18.
Yeah,
And
he was.
he had some skill about him, and he had the arrogance about him that you can come and try to get it, but you're not going to get it. That kind of thing. Keith Weller had that. And in the end of the day, you go home to mummy crying, "I don't want to play Keith anymore."
Yeah.
That kind of thing, because I call it an arrogance. It's a winner's arrogance. And it's not a nasty thing that I'm saying. It's I know what I can do.
Mm.
and I can do it with all excellence. Francis was one of those guys. He was, as a youth, Gordon Hill was one of those guys. You would go left and he's going right. If he's running right, he's going left. And the striker's gone in the opposite direction. He just had that kind of release. He could do that. That's why they call him the magician, I think. Yeah. So those games against Birmingham, I think, and there was Sunderland as well. They had a very good team. A lot of first division players. They were tough.
Well, I'm old enough to remember one or two of those games, Derek, but so we'll move quickly on. But I'm told by Eamonn that you've got some Irish connections in your family tree. Can we move over briefly and move that on to
Yes.
Eamonn Dunphy? He was a teammate of yours,
Yes.
colourful character. What were your impressions of Eamonn?
I thought Eamonn was okay. We used to go, we used to room together. I think my grandmother might have been talking to him from her grave, that kind of deal, because she's from Cork, where all of the Irish things started. And so we got on really well. I thought that he had connections to the underground, that kind of deal. Eamonn, he's like, everybody else was a bit twitchy about him, but we got on fine. We just really well, actually. I've never seen a player jog so much and play so much, be selected every time. I'm thinking, hey, you got any ties to the IRA, the old IRA, And he's looking at me, laughing his head off, and I'm going, well, I can go into the long discussion about how you never sprint anywhere. But that's the kind of joker he was. He's a very big joker, So, but most Irish people are after they settle down. That's Eamonn. I got along well with him.
Who else was playing with you at Tampa Bay that our listeners would know from playing here?
Clyde Best. I loved playing with him. Johnny Boyle was there, Chelsea. Rodney Marsh came a year later. Paul Hammond, Crystal Palace. Mark Lindsay, Crystal Palace. Johnny Sissons, West Ham. No, you can all go, ooh, that's okay, it's good.
Did you play against the world superstars that were attracted to the North American Soccer League?
Yes, yeah, I did. Pele, Franz Beckenbauer, Johan Cruyff. I nearly went to his team in LA, but I cancelled that one. Ended up with Jimmy Gabriel as the coach in Seattle Sounders, but we had all these players, and Stuart Jump, Crystal Palace, So we played Pele and his team. I don't know. I think I scored about 6 or 7 goals against them. I scored 3 in one game. We won 5-1. I gave an assist or 2 for the others. So I always had a good day against the New York Cosmos. Johan Cruyff was a different kettle of fish. When he was in his 30s, he was still brilliant.
I'll tell you what, though.
Listen to you all day.
Well, we could. Derek, and you're right, but there is so much we could ask you. So much so that you will have to come back again. And also, I was going to ask you a question about the stalk at Tampa Bay Rowdies, but I'm not going to ask you now. That'll have to be
Come
saved.
on now, I'd love to. Come on.
No, next time. Thanks for coming on, Derek. All the best.
Take them out to dinner, ladies.
Yeah. but finally, before you go, can you give us a prediction for our game this Saturday, Cardiff City versus Millwall?
Cardiff City is a very difficult place to go in and come out with a point. It's just always raining and windy. It's just every time I went there it was. But I'm going Millwall 2, Cardiff 1.
Oh, bless you.
It's about time they broke out of this we very comfortable drawing games.
Yes.
They've got so many draws in the last 6 years. You have to train this out of people. You can't. It's a training thing. Yeah.
A mentality that takes
yes,
over.
It is. You have to train it out first.
Yeah.
You can't train it in first.
No,
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Derek. Bye for
Okay.
now. And as I say, you'll have to come back again because there's just so much to ask you. And we'll find out why you didn't get an Irish passport like Tony Cascarino.
I didn't know.
See, well, we'll talk about that next time. But
It's been great.
that'll
It's been
be
great
there.
listening to you, Derek. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for coming on.
yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next time.
Yeah, thank you, Derek.
Yes. Bye-bye, Patricia.
Bye
Jeff.
for now.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye for now. Well, that was brilliant, wasn't it, eh? We will take a break there and listen to the man that can walk and sing amongst many other things. It's that man, Barry Stradlin.
Hello, my name's Barry Stradling. I'm a Millwall fan my entire life. I'm doing the London Memory Walk to try and raise some money for the Alzheimer's Society. I'm doing this because I've got close friends with Alzheimer's and I've got a family relation with Alzheimer's. So if you could help me out by going to justgiving.com, fundraising Barry Stradling, and try and raise as much money as possible. If you can donate some money and also share the link to people to try and get everyone involved in this to try and help people suffer from Alzheimer's.
Well, I'm Eamonn Barclay and I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and Patricia Maslin. A great cause it is, something that is a very prominent condition in society today. And if you can help Barry beat Alzheimer's. Next up, we hear from Ellis Barr.
Ellis here. Thank you for watching my videos. Now to hear what the Millwall Lionesses and Romans have been up to, and to hear who is next up for Gary Rowett and the Lions. Come on, Millwall!
Yeah, that's right, Ellis. We really enjoyed looking at your away kit down somewhere along the coast. You look good in it, I must say. Anyhow, the Millwall Romans are training every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. at St Paul's. That's in Salter Road in Rotherhithe, SE16. They featured in the Fulham programme as part of the launch of the away kit and the story of player-manager Paul Lodin becoming a Millwall Community Trust ambassador. If you're interested in joining the Millwall Romans, get along to St Paul's in Salter Road and say hello to Paul, and he will tell you what you need to know about joining their side. Millwall Lionesses played their final pre-season friendly against Borough Green on Sunday, ahead of their first season in the London and South East Regional Women's Football League Premier Division. Jeff Burnige was there to watch the proceedings. Hey, Jeff, tell the listeners what happened.
Well, it was the last pre-season friendly before the league season started. They played a team called Borough Green. To be fair, they're from quite a low level in the women's football pyramid, but our girls won 10-0. They were 6-0 up after 20 minutes and made a lot of substitutions after that. So it was a limited use, but I must say in that first 20 minutes, we did look really good. And it was the first time we've won in the pre-season programme, 2 draws and a defeat before that.
But that'll give them a boost, Jeff. And
it will, yes, it has done.
Yeah, and that's good news. That's good news. Right, well, 2 draws and a defeat so far. And next up this Saturday is a trip to South Wales to face Mick McCarthy's Cardiff City. First up, let's have the view from the opposition with our man Henry Stato Morgan as he talks with Cardiff City insider James Jenkins.
View from the opposition comes this evening from Cardiff with James Jenkins giving us his views on the match this coming weekend. Cardiff stats so far this season: drawn 2, 1-1, sits 5th in the table. I asked James how he felt they had started.
I think the question, am I happy with the start to our season from a Cardiff perspective? Played 3 games and we've got 5 points. You know, we're still unbeaten, and you know, Barnsley last season they done really well to be where they were. So I think we sort of had a draw against a particularly decent team there. And I think we give away a cheap goal. We both had 2 disallowed goals in the first half, if memory serves me right. And then we went on to Sutton United, and we went a goal down, and then we scored 3, and then we conceded another goal. So I think that was a bit of a poor performance, but then it's Carabao Cup. We're focusing on the league. Peterborough, what do I say about Peterborough? I think definitely didn't deserve the draw. 2-2, I think we were very, very lucky to get a point out of that. And considering our ambitions, we're looking to get into the playoff places. I think that's a disappointing result. All in all, I think we've done okay, but I think we've got a lot of room to improve, and I think we could have done a lot better.
Who do Millwall need to be wary of on Saturday?
It's going to be a very physical game, judging by previous experiences between Cardiff and Millwall playing. I think it's a game it's going to suit Kiefer Moore. I think Kiefer Moore's going to love this game, and he's going to actually really do well. He has a good Euros, and he was our top scoring player last season with 20 goals at least. So I'm going to say Marlon Pack, maybe keep an extra eye on Joe Ross. But then again, I'm biased because I like Joe Ross. And then defender-wise, we got Aidan Flint and Sean Morrison, who again will suit this style of match. If I had to choose between either one of those two, Aidan Flint has been known as the English Ramos because he's been doing quite well recently in recent games anyway. I don't quite share that same sentiment or that same nickname myself, but I could see Aidan Flint doing well as well. So if I had to choose, it'd probably be Marlon Pat, Kiefer Moore, and Flinto.
Is there anyone that Cardiff is particularly worried about?
A Millwall player that Cardiff should be wary of. Jed Wallace, and looking at his record, he had 38 goals through all of his stints at Millwall. So I think he could possibly be a threat if he plays well. Again, I don't really know the Millwall squad, so I'm just going to go with the safe option, just purely based on record, and go with Jed Wallace.
Finally, James, what's your score prediction?
So, as I've mentioned previously today, I think it's going to be a tough physical game. It's going to be hard for either side to really break each other down. We're quite known for our physical attitude towards football, and I think Millwall are as well in recent years. To be honest, I haven't seen much of how they play under Gary Rowett. I think it's going to be one of them games where Cardiff are going to be hard to beat. We're going to be tight defensively, again with man mountains like Aidan Flint and Sean Morrison. And then we got Kiefer Moore, the big man up top. Yay. And James Collins as well. We got James Collins. He seems quite a tall lad, quite big built. I think we're definitely going to utilize our strength and height. So I think it's going to be a game of set pieces more than anything. So hopefully, I'm going to go. If I had to go with my heart, I'm going to say 2-1 or 1-0 either way. But a non-biased view, I think it's going to be a 0-0 or a 1-1.
Cheers, James.
Another draw, eh? That's what the man who applies his mind to, not his heart, but his head. And it's going to be a game of the tall boys, because he's obviously not up to date with the fact that we've got quite a few tall boys too. So it could be the clash of the tall boys. So I'm looking forward to that. But do you realise that since our return to the Championship, it is 6 draws, home and away with Cardiff. Amazing. They have drawn with Barnsley and Peterborough and defeated Blackpool in the league this season. So what do we think? Jeff, how about you?
It's interesting to see how we react to Tuesday, won't it?
Yeah.
It's a very difficult one to read. I'm not even sure we can actually get the starting 11 right. There were 1 or 2 established players that didn't do particularly well Tuesday. I'm finding it really difficult to decide what's going to happen there. My gut feeling is it'll be low scoring, and I agree with the Cardiff guy. I think any winning goal is likely to come from a set piece.
Got a prediction?
0-0.
0-0. Fair enough. Patricia?
I think their league position belies how bad they've been this season, actually. I think we've had really tough opposition our first few games, and hopefully it will be a physical game. Let's see a bit of fight from our guys. I think it's going to end up 1-1, but I think hopefully, if Rowett does change the team, which he should, it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Okay. Debbie, what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm being very optimistic, actually. I think we'll get out there and get very physical and go for it. So I'm predicting a 2-0 to us.
Ah, well, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, that's.
I love the
Get
anything.
hopeful. Make sure the crowd get behind them.
That's right. We'll have to stick with you and Derek Smethurst's views because anybody else is unlikely to make it a very positive scene. I have had a prediction from Carla Marie Hayles, who runs the Millwall Home and Away site on Facebook, and she says 2-1 to the Lions. So there you go. As it stands, there's 3 that see us winning there and 2 that are not so sure about it. Anyhow, new to this section is checking out the Millwall fan predictions for our lineup against Cardiff this Saturday. Our prediction this week is from our very own Dave Hart, who is closer to the middle of the league than me. Here is Dave's predicted 11 against Cardiff. In goal, he's got the one and only, can you believe who it is? Well, I can. It's Bartosz Białkowski. In defence, it's a lineup of Danny McNamara, Murray Wallace, Jake Cooper, that man from Arsenal, Mr. Ballard, Scott Malone. In midfield, it's that Kieftenbeld Bell guy, Ryan Leonard, and Sav. Well, I know him as Savile. The attackers he has as Jed Wallace and Benik Afobe. What do you reckon, guys? Dave has a keen eye, but as I said, he's closer to the middle of the table than I am. Debbie, what do you think?
Well, Dave's he's bringing in Ryan Leonard for George Evans, and he's bringing in Danny McNamara for Marlon Romeo.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be far wrong there. I think Danny McNamara, in most people's book, is ahead of Marlon. Marlon didn't enjoy that first half, I don't think, on Tuesday. And Ryan Leonard's played so well this season whenever he's come on that I think it is possible he'll get a starting position. And if he is, and everyone's fit, it could be for George Evans. But look, we shall see. I don't think Dave will be far wrong.
Pat, what about you?
Well, I wrote down my team and I had 2 different. I would drop Murray Wallace. I think he had a really bad game. I would also drop Savile, believe it or not. I don't think he's proved himself in the last few games he's played with us. I think he looks totally unfit. I would bring in... I wouldn't play Jed up front. I'd put Jed behind the 2 front people and I would give Smith and Bradshaw beside Afobe. So half each for Smith and Bradshaw. Obviously McNamara in on the right there. And I would also give Ben a chance on the bench.
Ben who?
Ben Thompson.
Oh, right. Yeah, I haven't seen him there for a while.
No, and really, I'm not saying he's their best player, but if he had come on against Fulham, you'd have seen a bit of fight there.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I would definitely bring him on the bench. And yeah, I'd drop Savile. And also, Bart, I'd be looking at him for the next couple of games. If he's as poor as he has been, I'd be looking at bringing on our reserve keeper. I've forgotten his name now.
His name's Long. It's not a long name. His name's
George Long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he looks really decent, and I'd be like perhaps dropping Bart for a game or 2.
Good. That sounds good. Did you hear that, Gary? You've listened to Pat tonight. So that's where we need to be. Anyway, so it looks like you ain't too far off, Dave. Some people have some variants and all that. And there's a big hope that Ben Thompson can break into the team this weekend. Don't forget to download the Fan Hub app and you can join in and keep the Lions on their journey to the top of the EFL club ratings. And you can get the app either on the Apple site or on Google Play. So, okay, we'll take a break there before we hear from a friend of the show, famed for his vocals. But first, here are Fantastic Fanatics.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
Well, I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and Patricia Maslin. It's well worth purchasing items through Fantastic Fanatics website and rewarding the Mill Community Trust with donations from them. Our second guest tonight is a star of Russia 24 Sport and a keen member of Facebook group Real Fans No Filter. It's the one and only man that goes for afternoon tea at the Ritz. It's Sam Gardiner. Welcome, Sam.
Now that is an introduction if I've ever heard one before. That's fantastic.
I'm glad you like that one.
I said I needed last time I come on, I said I needed a new gig.
You did.
And you've swerved the curry house now, so
that's it.
Right, that's the new gig.
That's the new gig. Until the next time. Anyhow, before I let you off to the panel, what's it like getting back to the den to watch football, mate?
It was special. Both games. Well, I say both games. Obviously, we had the third game against Fulham now, but even the Portsmouth game was just brilliant. Do you know what it is? The football's hour and a half, and in the last year and a half, we've got to watch the football. So we've not missed the actual football watching itself, but it's everything that comes with the day. You know, it's seeing people that you tend to only see at Millwall, your Millwall friends, lifelong tradition. It's bumping into the people that you pump into away games, going to the pub that you go to, and everything. It was really nice, and to couple that with the first Let 'Em Come was worth the wait.
That's it. That's absolutely right.
So Sam, Jeff here. Good evening.
Hiya, Jeff.
How are you doing? Is that when Eamonn says you go for afternoon tea at the Ritz? Is that the Ritz in Deptford High Street or another one that I don't know about?
It more than likely would suit me better, in all honesty, Jeff. But on this occasion, I was larging it up at the Ritz, I could say.
Right. Well, we've played 3 league games: QPR, Blackburn, and Fulham. What did you think of the performances in the 3 games?
Very much a mixed bag, and quite clearly. But I wish we would have stuck onto one of the 1-0 leads we had, because mixed bag then really would have fit the bill, because it'd have been a win and a loss and a draw. People would be a little bit more optimistic compared to what I'm seeing online in the first few games back. It's very frustrating. I mean, I think we should have beaten Blackburn. We'd done enough, I believed, until we conceded that goal to look like we was going to hold out. QPR I thought was a fair result, and Fulham we've got played off the park, which was half expected, but I wanted a little bit more in terms of fight. But I'm not too down in the dumps like others. I think we're still going to be pretty tough to beat this season, and that's pretty much Rowett's motto, isn't it? He's more of a let's not get beat, see if we can nick a result, as opposed to all out, let's go and win. But I'm positive for the season. It's a long season. I think we've made signings in a couple of areas that we needed to. I think Afobe's looked great for what he does, running the channels, getting in behind. I don't think our midfield's quick enough for him yet. He's trying to make these runs and he's not getting found enough of the time, but I think that will come in time. So yeah, regardless of the Fulham game, I'm still pretty optimistic for the season.
Hello, Sam. Pat here.
Hiya, Pat. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. You?
Good, thank you.
Right. The parachute payments. Yeah, they've influenced the Championship considerably over the years. What are your thoughts on the system?
It's easy for a club like us. Our opinions obviously can be very different to the opinions of the teams that are, the West Broms, the Bournemouths, the Norwiches, the Fulhams who are floating up and down. They must love it because they're going to get paid. But it's tough for clubs like ourselves. I'm not a fan of it, but I don't think there's a great deal that can be done about it, in my humble opinion. You see what happens with supposed financial fair play with all the big boys. They're supposed to have restrictions, and all of a sudden, it all comes to pot, and they're still making these big signings. So when you're talking about ourselves, there's so much money in the Premier League that I can't see it changing. I really can't see it changing. Clubs like us to try and live that dream. And even if we have that one season, it feels like it's going to get further and further away.
I quite agree.
Which is disappointing, very disappointing. But we can only hope, hey? And if we do make it there, the feeling will be even better. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope so. Hi, Sam. It's Debbie here.
Hiya, Debbie.
Hello. Gary Rowett says he needs an attacking player to complete the jigsaw, but others must leave first. Many fans think he should just go out and buy. What do you say to those who say that, and what type of player do you think we need?
Well, first of all, I'm sure Gary, if he could go out and buy and not offload, I'm sure he would. He's not the one that's got the purse strings, is he? So, yeah, I mean, it's a bit silly for people to say he should just go and do that because he's obviously he's not allowed to. He's obviously been told that we've got players that don't fit his plans moving forward. So it's easy to say that, but that's clearly not the case. That's why we are the club we are. We run well. If we weren't, we could be in stickier positions like you've seen some other big clubs over the years. But I think we need, an attacking option, another attacking option. As mentioned a moment ago, I think Afobe's done really well, showing that we've kind of missed up front yet. He scored a goal, but I think he'll score a few this season. But we have to have someone else up there putting pressure on him. You need those competition for places, and let's face it, I mean, it looks pretty bleak if he was to get injured. I love Matt Smith for what he is, but he doesn't fit the bill for what Rowett tries to do. You can see he's going to be used as an impact sub more often than not. So I think there has to be another striker to come in. I think they've heard some rumours about a winger or attacking midfielder, but I think it has to be a striker because unfortunately he does work hard, but Bradshaw just he doesn't seem like he can work at championship level now, and I think we all would agree that I don't think Bodvarsson can either. So it really does leave us short if we don't get one more in my opinion.
Do you think the scouts have a question to answer on this? Because all our best forwards are basically come from lower leagues.
Do you know what I think it is? It's funny you say that. I was speaking about this to a couple of my friends the other day, and I was saying we've always done very well with plucking strikers from non-league. Just in the last 10, 15 years, the championship is just a step up too much for that. You've even seen the likes of, at times, Gregory and Morrison not being as effective in the championship towards the back end of their Millwall stays. And to pluck someone with our kind of budget from non-league and chuck them straight in the championship, I think that's potentially where the biggest gulf actually is in all the leagues. I think the Premier League bottom half and the top six or so, like we're talking about with the financial money in the championship now, is closing actually. But I think the biggest gap amongst the four leagues is League One to Championship. We're not going to get someone that scored 20 goals recently in the Championship. Even League One big scorers are probably above our pay grade at the moment. So you've got, I think, one of our best chances is trying to pluck someone perhaps who's done well in League Two.
Yeah, that'd be a tough shout.
Or abroad. They keep talking about that we're going to venture more abroad, but I haven't really seen too much of it yet.
Yeah, I think we might start looking towards someone coming in who's a youngster in the Premiership. Won't be Delap, but it could be somebody else.
I think a Troy Parrott type signing.
Yeah.
I thought that would go better, and I still think that he'll be a good player, and he'll be a player that plays in the Premier League. It just didn't work out for us for a multitude of reasons, injuries and
of course we aren't the greatest servers, as you added earlier on. The deliveries strikers get has not been a high-profile part of our game for a little while.
No, and it's frustrating because I'd like to see us play the 4-4-2 and play Smith with Afobe more. What that doesn't mean, in my opinion, is that we have to play a diagonal ball from Cooper or Ballard when he's on the pitch. We've got players that can get the ball in the box, and Matt Smith is just as effective with a ball being whipped in from the byline or from the wing, as opposed to it always having to be a diagonal ball. So I think Rowett, in my opinion, he could still try and play, I say the football he wants to. It is very slow build-up, but on the floor and still accommodate Matt Smith. And it's hard to take anything positive out of that game the other day against Fulham, but when Matt Smith was on, then we didn't try and outplay them, which was never going to work on the floor. we looked ever so slightly more effective. So I would like to see 4-4-2 at the weekend. I don't think it will happen. Almost certain it won't, but that's what I would do.
Sam, as usual, it's been great to have you on the show.
Thank
And
you.
we certainly look forward to seeing you returning during the season. But before you go, a prediction for Saturday, Cardiff v Millwall.
I am going to go for the win. I was going to say 1-1, but I'm going to go for a 2-1, and I'm going to go for Ballard to score from a corner.
Well, that sounds good to me. And you're there with Carla Marie Hayles from the Millwall Fans Home and Away Facebook site. That was her prediction too. So, and Debbie looks forward to us scoring 2 goals without any reply. So,
Lovely.
Thanks for that. And Derek Smethurst as well. He was on for us winning there. There was 2 people who you may know that weren't so focused. But anyway, all the best. Say hello to Mum Jackie from us.
Most certainly will.
Lovely. And until the next time, bye for now.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Cheers,
All right,
Sam.
Sam. Bye,
Bye.
Sam.
Well, he's always good, Sam. We'll take a break now and listen to Bethany Warren describing a most helpful app.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Print image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and Patricia Maslin. It is a great app and you can really help others. People continue to lose their lives to this dreadful virus, or as a consequence of suffering with it, as deaths and infections continue and many continue to be hospitalised too. Our thoughts go out to their families, friends and those that take care of them. Additionally, please respect the requirements of transport and other locations in reducing risk of infection, and also the preference of individuals to protect themselves.
First of all, let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? It is now located in the Millwall Community Trust car park. That's beside Millwall's Den in Ballina Road. That Millwall Lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need support and you can help if you can by making a one-off donation or a regular monetary donation online at Banquet. That is Banquet, BANKUET. Or on match days against Blackpool, you can make donations at the hub at about 50 metres from the Lions store. You can also contact the team via their Twitter and Facebook sites. Talking about Lions, the Lions Roar Fanzine will be available at the gates along from the club shop, or the Lion store, as it is actually called. Watch out for Aisha Smith at her home game against Blackpool on Saturday week, as she will be pleased to sell you a copy. Good night.
Next week, James returns on Friday at 8 p.m. to host the Thamesmead duo of Ted and Stan and the man from a royal county, Gary Staff. So from the men on the panel to game changers, the Proper Blokes Club has amassed an incredible following, and their walks take on some fantastic strolls. September 11th is a Saturday and we are at West Brom. Now if you don't go to the Hawthorns, why not join the blokes on a trip from Brighton to Bognor? Come along and join Scott Johnson in breaking the stigma of men's mental health with a walk and talk groups. There are regular walks from HMS Belfast, the Cutty Sark, and beside the not-so-prolific safety boat at Wallington Park. Check out the Proper Blokes Club on Twitter and Facebook for all the walk arrangements. Good night.
Don't forget, everyone, player sponsorships, very important for the Lionesses this season, and they're available. Why not share the burden between a few of you or even a couple of your companies? If you can give them some added support, you can find details on their website. Just put Millwall Lionesses into your browser. You should find them easily enough. The Lionesses are still recruiting at the moment. If anyone is interested in coming down to St Paul's, Salter Road, Rotherhithe, just email recruitment@millwall-lionesses.com. I'll repeat that, recruitment@millwall-lionesses.com, or DM them either their Twitter account or Instagram account. That's Millwall_LFC. Don't forget, our Lionesses need you, and you can watch them this Sunday at Ashford Town. That's the Ashford in Middlesex, not the Ashford in Kent. And the stadium is the Robert Parker Stadium in Short Lane, Stanwell. That's TW19 7BH, right by Heathrow Airport. It's going to be £3 for adults, £1 for a child. Don't forget, Millwall Romans need you too. Go along on Wednesday nights at 7:30 to St Paul's Sports Ground and introduce yourself to player manager Paul Loading to find out about playing. Good night from me.
Lastly, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Don't forget you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team bring updates from our games both home and away on Maritime Radio Broadcasting on 96.5 FM. That's it from me. Thanks, Jeff, Pat and Debbie. Until the next time, let's hear the Wall of Sound in South Wales on Saturday. Good night.